All right, track 11 is Wolves, which was a single release from Sun Kil Moon and Amoeba. This is Mark Kozelik, who we named earlier and have talked about with Red House Painters and Sun Kil Moon. Kozelik is American born, but the name looks a little bit like it might be Eastern European, might be Hungarian. Amoeba is a jazz, soul, rock ensemble that is Hungarian based. And the song itself, to me, has a feel of like Mark arriving, maybe getting a little bit of sleep, and then the studio and the band are already ready, and the producer's in the booth, and like he's kind of arriving with this song as it's unfolding, because it's a song that breaks the fourth wall, and you hear the conversation back and forth between the band members, and I assume that person who he's talking to is the producer, where he's like, "Hey, what do you want me to do now?" He's like, "I don't know. You're the band leader." Like there are these awesome moments of just total dialogue, plus this moment in the song. Like a couple of the lyrics that stood out to me are in this key of E, and it like comes, I assume, comes up to the key of E, where they don't start in the key of E, or maybe they span an entire octave. I don't actually know. I didn't track it very close. Maybe one of you guys caught that. And then, of course, the song is called Wolves, and there are several moments in the track where he's telling the story of hearing wolves, and then all the band members start howling. And he even makes comment about like, "Hey, your howling just kind of freaked me out a little bit." So, kind of taken aback by that. So I don't know that much more about the background of this song or the collaboration or even Kozelik's heritage. And maybe it's just a cool creative project, but I have a story in my mind that feels really rich, and I definitely want to find myself in a room with Mark Kozelik and this band and be able to howl along with them when this comes up. I love the drums that are just jazzy and flowy, and all that stuff is, I mean, musically, it's an incredible song. It just was impossible not to put it on the playlist for this year. Grant, I'm going to throw it to you because I imagine this might have been on your radar and might not have made it to your list. But yeah, curious if it was.
It wasn't, and I've missed the single that it was released. Mark Kozelik's putting out so many things these days and kind of continually churning things that I think I'm not as paying attention as close as I probably should be. So I always appreciate it when you bring it up and then be able to kind of like sit and listen to the song, because I do think there's a lot to it. And he can paint a picture only in a Mark Kozelik kind of way of like buying cigarettes and then recording in the studio and then changing this, adding a verse because he just felt like the song was incomplete. I think there's a realism of just sort of like telling the story and letting that be the song and sort of letting it go. But also, he probably could have told 10 other different stories to the same kind of music, but for some reason, like this defined this song for him. And that's the part that I think getting into the genius part of his brain is always kind of fun. The wait, what's that? Those are wolves, Mark? And he's like, well, I don't hear those in the California hills. Like you mentioned kind of his location. And I think Sean even mentioned like when we brought Red House Painters up of like, they're from Michigan, but then from here he's singing about Ohio and he lives in California, but now he's in Europe. Like he's definitely like a worldly guy, bringing all those different influences home, and sort of like what is home to Mark Kozelik is what that made me feel. But now he's recording in this scenario with wolves outside going, "Oh, okay." And then let's pull that into the song as well. So I thought that was cool. I mean, he pulls from life and puts it into his art. I think that's always great. He had to walk outside and saw a snowman. He's like, "Man, I got to get a photo of that." Like of all the snowmen I'm seeing in our neighborhood, as we had 7 inches yesterday or the day before yesterday. Like it's like, come to St. Paul, Mark. You'll get tons of pictures of snowman if you want. Probably not a lot of wolves, but So I think it's just cool. He it's like his journal entry turned into a song a bit, and I think that that's fun to kind of see. And to the level of the deepness that most of these other tracks are kind of giving us, there's also just like it's okay to have it on the surface. Make some music with people. Talk about some funny moments with a woman that didn't understand what you're asking for when you're asking for Marlboro Lights, and the guy translates, and she's like, "Got it." Like those are kind of transactional in a way, but also like fun to just like bring it back to the surface and have a laugh about it too. So very cool. I did not have this on my radar, so Brett, thank you for circling it back in for Wolves. And Sean, I know you had some sequencing here too in the middle of the Animal Pack. Wolves being right there too, I thought was cool.
It's completely random. It was all. I mean, there was no readjusting of the order. The songs came in, and all I did was basically kind of line up the fourth song from you and from Brett and from me, and it ended up making this this little 3-pack of animals cruising around. Yeah, I mean the storytelling's really good, and the spoken word nature of it. It's not fully spoken word. It's kind of a mix, I guess. He kind of sings some lines and does some things that are there, but I like the kind of like the speakeasy part of it, and the music's just kind of the background for the story. Although the bass line and the bass player's totally jamming. I mean, I'm imagining sunglasses and like he's at the back of the stage probably, but like lost in like a very, very interesting bass line. Anyway, the storytelling's really good. It's 6 minutes of just kind of like keeping you entertained while it moves through these different scenes, and I think it's nice when a song kind of makes you chuckle a little bit, or makes you turn and look at the other person in the room like, did you hear him say that? And there's a few moments like that in the song, and that made it fun.
Yeah, I love that. The song actually is on an album called Sun Kil Moon and Amoeba Volume 2. I actually couldn't find Volume 1. So I don't know if they released something or released it under the radar, or if it's just not on Spotify, but I thought that was funny and fun that that this is the second iteration of this band and Mark working together on a project. I didn't get a chance to listen to the whole album, but I plan to. I think that there's probably a lot more content there. Kozelik is one that always satisfies my ears, and I would like to spend a little bit more time digging into all the content that he has produced, because you're right, Grant, there's several albums in recent years, and just seems to be a prolific artist that maybe one day I'll get to howl with in some dive bar nearby. So with that, here's Wolves from Sun Kil Moon and Amoeba. This is the single release. I'm not sure if the sound is any different on the album, but I would recommend going and checking out that album because I trust it would be amazing.